minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCarley, where your digital dreams come true.
We are AI Tool Time. So every day I basically come here to Facebook and LinkedIn. Here I am. This is my website. Check me out. I'm public and everything. And I just played this song that I'd done a long time ago. But every day I come up with some idea that was, stuff about what I'm doing. And so I do a deep think every day. And I do this on LinkedIn. There's some stuff. So here's Apple throws in the towel and asks Google to design custom Gemini LLM for Siri. And so I'll find a really deep kind of conversation, and then I'll go over to ChatGPT and I'll have a very long conversation. So one of the stories I did recently was this one right here. So if you take a look at this illustration, or not, let's see if it will work. So in ChatGPT, you come over, if you want to find all your pictures, you come right here. I don't know why this didn't all of a sudden... There we go. So I will go through and I will talk for an hour and a half. So here's the original post that I found online about children under the age of like 5, 7, 14, 17. And I was kind of incensed about it. So I took the entire post and I copied it here. And you can see my conversation goes back and forth. And so then it thinks for a while and then it breaks it down. It gives me some research about it. So the 4 big stories about Instagram. So this is how I do my daily day. Just a reminder, always put your work into a folder structure so that I have a social media folder structure. So it has instructions of how I want my social media stuff to be done, like the tone that I want and the post that I want. So then I get to this point where then I have, this is my post. I was doing this as for our show. Right. So each one of us is going to say this, and then we're going to take up that story. So this is the one that I came up with that it created. You notice it has the content credentials from Adobe in there. So it's embedded. Guess what? Google and Gemini and all of them have now embedded them invisibly in everything you create AI. The thing we have to do to our people out there is insist that they be enforced. So LinkedIn is the only one that's putting that CR up there. If you see it, congratulate them for stepping up and doing the right thing. Everybody else is looking the other way. So I never get exactly what I want. So then I might go a little bit further and I say, give me 4 ideogram ready prompts. Okay, so here's 4. And I'll go through a long thing about exactly what I want. But now that it's trained upon how I want, it gives me this that I can copy, go over to ideogram. I just got finished making this one a second ago for my book for agents. And I copy and paste it in there. Oop. I just messed it up, didn't I? Let me try copying that again. Come over here. Now, ideogram is very cheap to use, and I do not want to use that as a reference. You can use your style, can be any of these styles, including all of these really cool styles that other people have. So if you want it to be an illustration like this, you can pick that one. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the prompt with realistic. You could do design. It's going to give it a different look, general and auto. Auto is just I'm going to be used for this one. So then I decide, okay, if I'm doing it for social media, it's usually 16 by 9. This one I'm going to do a square. You think about what you're going to do with it. And then you can also pick a custom color palette if you want to. And you can upload a photo here to serve as a guide, or anyway, we'll do that in a second. So if I generate, it's really quick in doing it. In fact, I can then go back through and see some things I've done recently. So I pulled up a few that I've done a long time ago. There's my Agent Army process. Here you can see it's a different thing. All right, so here we go. So that's what I got. Not quite what I wanted. Didn't really give me the realism. And I've got a couple of other versions here. And that's closer to what I want. The kids look a little bit too scared. I don't want it to be too crazy. So then I have the option to... let me go up to the top again. So when you get into ideogram, you're basically faced with everybody else's stuff, and you can kind of see what you want. Cool thing is you can say, "Ooh, I like that one. I want to make it." And you just go and remix this, and then it goes into your box. So there it is. There's the picture. So I'm going to remix this picture. So it's going to be based upon this. So there's that retro style. But what if I wanted to change the style? So I can then take that picture and that idea, and I can do it in this 3D style, and I can generate that. And you can see it takes about 30 seconds in fast mode. Then you go to your creations, and we see all the ones that I just did with our fearful family, right? Trying to protect themselves from all the stuff. And now I've got a 3D catitude. So I always start in Midjourney or whatever, go and get my inspiration from what other people are kind of doing. And of course, for me, it's specifically, I want to make something professionally viable. So you can use your face to train, and then when you can have your face put into objects. Um, that one you saw earlier, this is a version done in pastels. Not very effective in pastel mode, right? So the other way that I work, and there's the self-domesticated ape, right, as a horizontal with dominoes instead. So now what I can do with dominoes here, that's a little rude actually. Now that I look at it, maybe I should pick a different one. I can remix it. I can have it actually upscale. Um, I can have it also. Let me just get rid of this. Let me try something else here. Let me try. So I can download this picture. I can make it private or public as long as you're paying for it. Remix the image, magic fill, so I can fill in parts. Maybe I put a loincloth on this guy, right? I can also use a character reference. So I can make it, this is a character reference, so it's going to look like that. And the style, I could use it as a style reference. You may note this from other places. Then I can say, describe it. So Midjourney has the same thing. You can have a style reference, character reference, and you can also do a describe where it's actually describing the picture. So there it is. So if I want to take Domino's Pizza and I want to put it into Rick's Pizza, and I want to have the character be, let's see, character. I want to pick my character. Okay, I'm going to be the self-domesticated ape. And I have no idea what this is going to do. It might be a little scary. I don't know if I should do this or not. So then you can see I've used my face a couple of times in the prompting process, and it's just loading up your face so that no matter what you've done, I did this as Shepherd Fairies style. This is a little contact sheet of Shepherd Fairies work, and then I used it to influence that picture. All right, so here we go. Doesn't really look like me, but now I've got a square picture, and it didn't change it to Rick's. I think what I might have done wrong is I used the original picture. Okay, so now it's just going to be my style. I'm going to generate again. You can see, you can sit here and go really, really fast. So the main reason why I never ever use ChatGPT is it's literally 3 minutes for one image. So I use it to kind of test the waters, and then I direct it like I'm Steven Spielberg to make it different. So I might want to change this to make it here we go. Okay. Still not quite me, but you know what? I really don't want to be the self-domesticated ape. So that's pretty decent. And then you can keep trying and stuff like that. So I'll typically go out there and I will look for, and here's just a cavalcade of different things I'm doing. The cooking show, you saw us make this. This is this. Oh, nope, that's not that one. I can actually recreate this. So let's figure out what it looks like. Let me see if I can become the chef here. That would be cool. Robot outcooks Michelin chefs. Question mark, question mark. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and change it to, now, when you are doing something like this, think about, you got two people, so horizontal makes more sense. Obviously, you're doing video. You want to think of that. The default style, always use the latest model. There's no really reason to go otherwise. Turbo costs more money. Quality, faster, more affordable. I'm sorry. Slower, more quality. So I can go to the quality mode. Will take a little bit longer. I might fast mode because I want to make 4 of these. I can just generate 2 at a time. Obviously, that would keep it going. The style, as you saw before, is I can do photorealistic. I can do sort of analog style. I mean, look at these beautiful styles. And you can use the recent ones. Here's the recent one. So I uploaded pictures and made those pictures the style. So this could be anything you want. Or my styles, which I haven't really, I created this one Norman Rockwell style. Oh, let's see what it looks like as a Norman Rockwell. That sounds fun. But you can see, I mean, this is such an iterative, fast engine to work. It's like no reason not to just go all out, right? And the amount, and we can do batch processing if you pay a little bit extra, which I'm doing. You could do character creation. So I loaded up Sam Altman, and I used him for a photo illustration of being Gulliver being tied down by red tape, which was kind of ironic because that's definitely not what's going on. Oh, there you go. So that's Norman Rockwell if he made that same one, right? How cool is that? So you literally can sit there and iterate, ideate, go in any direction you want. So here's all my creations, nicely put there. I kind of like this actually. And I love the Norman Rockwell style. So you could put Norman Rockwell style, but this gets you much more refined color palette choices, and even, this kind of a thing. So you could take something you generated anywhere else, bring it in here. And the awesome thing is almost always the text is perfect. ChatGPT is about 30% of the accuracy of ideogram. And I put big, long text in there. Let me see if I can find one that has like 1,000. Like here's this one, right? Tax the Robots, Gates 2017 idea meets 2025 reality. And this is from our news program, right? And there it is. So it's a generator's dream machine. This was about flooding the marketplace with images, how many images we consume all the time. Here is Albert Einstein, theory of string theory, and theory of relativity. Here's one about social media and AI and education going off the cliff, and having wings. And here's just, I saw someone do this and I said, I want one like it. For illustrations for Notebook LM, here's Google's Notebook LM as being like, so you can load up a whole deck of Harry Potters in one of 300 entry points. So there's my illustration for it. Here's about an educator, having a rocket ship for the mind. So it was an idea for a project that I wanted. And then even like this one, I think we might have used this once, Brandon. I don't remember if we did or not. But that idea of, calm the fear and fly the ship, about the debate. I even did a whole kind of disturbing one. I uses Diego Rivera's style to do the insurrection, the January 6th event. And it kind of both disturbed me and made me sort of, this is how Diego Rivera would make his murals. And I didn't really train it on his work. I just said the word and the name and the style. But then you got this beautiful stuff. So I trained it on my underwater pictures. It won't do nudity. It'll give you a little cat with a sign. Here's about doom scrolling and falling in love online. And then when I put my own self in there, it creates it. So it ends up being, so I take a nice picture of myself. This is one of my favorites. So I have this, I'm a Greek god in this particular one. So the possibilities are really quite cool. Oh, here's Sam Altman. So OpenAI is Gulliver, Sam Altman travels. So the illustration was supposed to be about red tape and how he needs to be tied down. He needs to have some, so this is my illustration class. So we literally, this was about AI taking over Gen Studio. I was writing about Adobe Gen Studio and how it takes over jobs and how it doesn't have the human in the loop part. So I said, I want an image that illustrates if AI were designing ads, what it would look like, new and improved and better detergent, whatever. And then the one that humans would respond to, which is emotionally grounded, contextual living. That's what we do. In fact, it's our superpower, right? Our superpower is literally that if I say the word Frodo to you, or if I say 9/11, there's a trillion words that come off of that word. And if I show you some photographs, they're worth 1,000 words, and some photographs are profoundly about 1,000,000,000, like this beautiful one. Now, that one's not quite the best one, but if you're worried about seven fingers and etc., this is just a dramatic photograph. Oh, okay, that's the old prompt. But yeah, this is how good it is. So this model is every bit as well, not quite as good as. And here's this cow thing, and there's AI rocket ship, happy, joy. So whatever you can imagine, you literally can do it. And this is a whole series of competing with. Oh, there's the cartoon version, right? So if you're an illustrator, it's an absolute dream machine. Here's I was talking about the black box effect. Here I was talking about, global warming and the bleaching. So I'm an underwater photographer, and I'm here to tell you the proportions of the staghorn coral is not right compared to the plate coral, but I could get it to be perfect. And shooting an over under shot, oh my God, that is a very skilled thing to do. You got to have the right dome port. I mean, there's a billion things that go on in it. I started training it in my underwater photography, and I started getting things like this. Then I started doing, sort of dystopian things. This is one of my favorites right now. Freedom was an app update. I was feeling very dark that day, obviously. And then this was about when patterns wake up. Safety means more than accuracy. So the pattern of AI. So this is a very complex subject. And I went on to wax poetic about this idea of what the difference in pattern making for AI versus human is. And the difference is we extrapolate from the word Frodo or 9/11 a trillion tokens of data. And we only have a brain that takes 20 watts. It's a low powered light bulb, but it illuminates the dark, right? And I think it actually got that idea from to do this, that you're waking up and you see this monster, which looks like, a bunch of clothes that you didn't clean or whatever, or didn't put away. And that pattern maybe is something that you can think about. So it starts to extrapolate into some other ideas. What is our surveillance and security? The end of American empire? Is it there? And then I did this really big project that I'm doing on jobs. So I said, what are the jobs that we've lost in the last centuries? So the typing pool, my mom was one of these women, right? Here's a better version, I think, because the typewriter's turned around the right way, and you've got these nuns going down the middle. And this is literally in certain buildings around the world. That's how they worked. And then you got the modern day. So I've been juxtaposing what the modern day robotics and farming looks like to the way it used to be. So I did cotton mills and making fabrics. Here's a Lewis Hine inspired image. So now I know Lewis Hine. I know his work incredibly. It's how we got our child labor laws in the United States. His photographs passed that law that said 12 and 10-year-olds that were working 70 hours a week and were not getting proper breaks and were ill health, right? And then you've got a robot factory where there's a bunch of layoffs, and we'll talk about this more next week. But just this last week, all of a sudden, there's been a drop. If you've been waiting for that time when jobs go away, it's here, buddy. I'm sorry to say it, but it is here. You're talking 20,000 per company. In the case of Amazon, and it's 60, 80,000 because there's no use for having people in this situation in processing billions of information and calls over robocalls internationally per second. So this is the newspaper industry I grew up in. And of course, it's just not that anymore. And here's the advertising agency. Well, that's not the one. There's one I did on an advertising agency. I don't see it here. Oh, automobile manufacturer. Look how beautiful this picture is. And I haven't even upresed it yet. Once I upres it, you won't be able to distinguish. But advertising agency is now this. So now it's Gen Studio. So there's the proper logo. The text is a little janky and I have to fix it. And then I started talking about things like security. So, and then I used my face. Truth is a choice. Obey the algorithm. Sort of a dystopian thing. Oh, and I love this too because if you're gonna do AI and use yourself, you got to become a Greek god at least and have some six-pack abs and some guns on you. So, and then this was from the quote. This is Norman Rockwell style. And there's a famous quote from Winston Churchill during World War II, and he said, "Are you going to cut the funding for the arts?" And he says, "No, of course not. What are we fighting for?" Right? So that led me to do this. And that is because I spent hours in ChatGPT. It's still not there yet. I wouldn't publish this, but like this one is sort of the boundary between what AI's provenance is and what human is. And it's the storytelling. And that's what I tried to get to here. And you can get really, and I have a metaphorical, that's my magic sauce, right? The machine of loving grace allows you to do what you're meant, purpose built on the earth to do. And that's the deep dive of the day, is to get to a place where we get to do that. So this was, I think, the final version. I fixed the faces up a little bit, but this is how do you shield your children, because they're on these social media all the time, from problems in the world. And then I decided, so they outlawed marriage. What country, what state was that, Brandon? And they've since passed a law also. I think it was
That outlawed marriage?
To AI.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah. That was last
Gotcha.
week's news story.
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. So Ohio's outlawed marriage to an AI. Great. Also, they start to outlaw in some states um, them keeping funds of their own, being autonomously in charge of funds, because that's a slippery slope to. So basically, I sit down and I have these deep conversations, and then I go, sometimes just make beautiful images. Sometimes I'll be inspired by somebody else's work and do an iteration of it. Human organs being grown. So basically every day, and here's the one that I'll end this conversation on, and that is, I started thinking about, what do we need to do with our students, right? All of our students, are 80% of them have been going on in this forever, and the educators are clueless, and they're not adapting because they're scared. So they're using it irresponsibly, and the law that character AI got hit with. So now you can't use character AI in certain situations unless you're over 18 years old and can prove it. So those are the new laws that we're going to have, and we're going to have some constraints. I don't know if it's going to get to abortion kind of situations, but prophylactics for sure, and education definitely, where you have a conversation with a PE coach, is what I remember doing when I was a kid. Because when I went to school after coming back from overseas, I went to this Alabama school, and they had just implemented. It was very controversial, and so who'd they get? They got the PE coach who does health kind of on the side. He was also the biology coach at my school, so it made sense. And he did a separate session with the boys and a separate session with the girls. What's your experience of sex education, Brendan, if you don't mind me asking? Did you have that, or did you learn it on the street?
Middle school. Here
Middle school.
we did stuff in middle school. Yeah,
It's official class, and it's to keep you safe. And then I said, make me an image of the back seat, and I did a song about this. So what is that song by Meatloaf? Under the light of the dashboard lights, or something?
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Yes. So I took this idea and I did an AI song where the AI went crazy and you fell in love with it. And then I did Paradise Under the Dashboard Light. And I'm like, whoa, man, this is so. If you're creative, if you have that sort of, and there you are with your AI girlfriend who's so cute, right? And that's just wrong, So that's what I do with it. And that's my kind of deep dive into Ideogram.